Trustees, Barata Academy Student Association. We salute you today, sir, for all your gallantry efforts to us and the rest of Nigeria. Continue to bask in the glory of God Almighty. Happy birthday, sir.
All right, Vera.
Well, happy birthday to him. When I hear this kind of information or news, I feel very excited because living and staying up to that year is something you have to be grateful for, especially helping the less privileged is what interests me the most. Happy birthday, sir. Do have a blessed day today.
Happy birthday from all of us at Bumper Breakfast and Mitv Star FM. We wish you, sir, a happy, glorious birthday. All right, on a Tuesday like this on Bumper Breakfast, it's our table shaker. And actually, I went on Twitter yesterday and I was like, what's happening? And there's congratulations everywhere. And our table shaker this morning, I love using the words of Reno Omokri because it's someone that doesn't care. Today, then he was supporting PDP. There was a time he said Obi, the Labour candidate, presidential candidate of Labour Party, was a good person, is following in his step. And all of a sudden, it just switched, now defending APC. And one keep wondering, do you want to decamp to APC just like we saw Tonto DK decamped to APC yesterday? You see, in politics, everything is possible, I'm telling you. What politics cannot do does not exist. I'm telling you. Let me use that phrase. I'm serious because in Nigeria, yes, thank you. In Nigeria, what politics cannot do does not exist because I don't know how Tonto DK went to APC because I could remember during the presidential candidate there was this Baraha on social media, she and Yapo Joe always speaking against the principle of APC. And stuff like ADC, now ADC, now APC.
I think defection is what we're in Nigeria. Instead of us to embrace reality, instead of Nigerians to say, hey, what you're doing, no critic, not criticism, but we just critique issues, and before you say Jack Robinson, someone is pulling to another party. Maybe, I'm not saying that's why she moved, maybe for one favor or the other, you want to align yourself with the ruling party.
Okay.
I don't think that's a good politics. I mean, why just, you have the Republican, you have the Democrat. Why not just stick to what you believe in? Well, that's what we're saying here.
All right. The table checking this morning is from Reno Omokri, and on Twitter he posted, "Congratulations to Nigerians and Nigeria for the victory over the notorious PNID in a London court today. The quashing of the $11 billion arbitration award is a vice relief and will now free up national revenue previously tied up by that legal proceeding. Now, traffic reprieve has come our way. I urge the Tinubu administration and especially the Central Bank of Nigeria not to resume the costly Naira defense that cost us $1.5 billion monthly. Floating the Naira should continue. A weakened Naira will reduce our dependence on import and promote import replacement, favoring the manufacturing sector. Let market forces and market forces alone determine the value of the Naira. We must learn to cut our coats according to our clothes and not our size." Now, speaking about this, now the PNID case, Mr. Fatikan Traders, as you know.
I also like to join Rena Omokri, shun of politics, come to realities, to congratulate Nigeria that we dodged a bullet. The bullet was flying overhead and it would have blown us into smithereens. And point of correction, this in accounting will have been money that you have had to find a way to pay. It will have been a judgment debt. It's not money that is sitting somewhere that somebody is going to give to us per se, in the books of Nigeria's current accounts, we say the contingency account, which should naturally be accruing and expecting if the judgment went the other way, would have been due. Now, what is the implication? The implication is that it will have sunk us more into physical crisis, especially when they give the intake that you've got to pay within a certain time. And if you are owing somebody and you are not able to pay, they can have a lien on your assets, they can have a lien on your capacity to continue to live in freedom. And what have you, $11 billion is no small feat. Now, I want to also say, and Tessie, I say this with all sense of responsibility. I made a comment, and Vera to join in that the brand of politics we play here, people don't kind of understand. Politics, as defined by Harold Lasky, says who gets what, where, and whom. And so, if you continue to break your head against the coconut for politics and politicians, I'm just sorry for you. They have a way of going to chop amala, akpu, and Fura de Nono. When you will have done with your lives, and is the reason why I must say that I respect what Reno Omokri is saying. He has not, well, it may happen like you said, but he has not told us that he wants to join politics. He made it clear, I mean to switch sides is what I mean. He made it clear that when the chips are down, he has to defend Nigeria, even though we are people of different nation states, you know, and I'm not sure we also have a country. Congratulations to Nigeria on this achievement, and I support the president's statements. Very, very solid. When he said, this is not just a victory for Nigeria, this is victory for sub-Saharan Africa, this is victory for pretenders who want to despoil their countries. They will go out and they will be the one to show you where the door is, where you can come and steal, maim, and despoil. This is putting a big stop to that kind of situation. For the memory of MQ Abiola, therefore, I like to say he's striving for repatriation from slavery, from neo-colonialism. It's been made to happen during this tenure of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It goes beyond his tenure, no doubt about that. And he gave kudos to the Attorney General and the people that worked on it. But don't forget, it's the same lawyers at one point in time that took us the way of Golgotha. Victory for Africa, victory for the black race, victory for all of us. Congratulations once again, Nigerians.
Well, I remember in 2010 when this contract was signed, you know, and that was about in January. When the news broke yesterday, I began to wonder. I'm looking at it from a different point of view. Are people not going to be caught broke when the British Virgin Island came in to sign a contract that now they are telling us that is signed under bribery and fraud? We had people that sat down, and this was in conjunction with the Ministry of Petroleum and Resource. Are they not supposed to bring them to book? Why would you engage yourself with bad or fraudulent activities? I think aside winning this case, I think we should begin to deep to find out those that are involved in this case. Not just, you know, just celebrating our victory, but we begin to put an end to some illicit business, illicit contract in Nigeria. This was so embarrassing. And yesterday I said to myself yesterday, we will have paid this kind of amount. We will have paid how many $1 billion for this time, if not the legal way. So we're seeing some countries
of money we don't have.
We don't have.
Add that.
And it's going to be going out of our purse. And we're crying that Nigeria is bleeding while some people are making mega bucks out of it. I know the case started a long time ago and we're pursuing the case. And so we have people that pursue the case up to yesterday that it came to an end. But for me again, let's begin to look at our judiciary system. In Nigeria, will this have happened? If the table turns to the other side, are we going to win this victory if it was in Nigeria? You know, but I saw the UK court performed very well in this case, and honestly, I give them applauded their decision of really squashing this disgraceful contract. It means that we have a lot of contracts in Nigeria that wasn't well done. So with this coming to pass, I think we need to begin to look at all of this contract we signed with people. It doesn't matter the country. We need to begin to look at how this contract, you see roads and you tell you contractors, they paid contractors 70%, and the road is not even 10% done. And we allow all of this thing just pass away. I think we all begin to look at, as a people, as a nation, as a country, we begin to look at what we sign with people, not even the international communities, even within us. How does this contract, what happened? Who are those that sat to, of course, we know the ministry that signed this contract. So are they just going to allow the ministry just go like that? Go
like that because
after
we won the
signing
case?
This kind of contract? It was embarrassing to Nigerians. We will have paid money we don't even have. We're talking about rice, we're talking about tomatoes, we're talking about onions. That five balls you're paying for 500 naira. It's so sad that this is happening in a country of how many years in democracy. My take is, we must get to the end of this. We shouldn't just allow it. Yeah, we're all jubilating. I did. I said, thank God we're not going to pay this money we don't have. Because the debt in Nigeria is getting too many. We cannot just continue to be paying debt. Someone will just say they've signed this contract. The railway contract was signed. I don't know how that went. Thank God it's working in Lagos. But we need to dig deep when we're signing contract with people, with countries also. Yeah.
That's a nice one. And Vera, may I say that with what I know, prosecution is going on. Yes, it's very, very slow, but you know the wheel of justice grinds slowly and it eventually grinds well. I know that is going on, but I am on your back when you said that compared to this kind of jurisdiction, are we going to fast track and make sure we bring it to book, whether in the oil and gas industry, whether in agri, whether in transportation. In the past 20 years, let's even take that as a yardstick, there are so much that has gone down the drain. People have lost their lives on account of that. But I am comforted by the judge in US, in Wales, recognizing the fact that in this jurisdiction, well, at least at one point in time, we had erudite judges who have been touched to the Commonwealth. The Justice Abuda is there. Justice Okuta is there. Nikitobi is there. I know we can always get back to winning ways. I think you have just set an agenda.
Are you saying we still have judges like that in Nigeria? Is that what you're telling me?
We still have a few.
Okay.
They may not be many. They may just be one.
Is it that you don't believe in the power of jury?
No, I do, but what I'm saying is, how many of them do we have?
You see,
growing up, you be hearing of Ganifawemi.
The truth of the matter is that the whole of the Nigerian system, including the judiciary, that way, have been compromised. Is it our military that's not compromised? Is it our security? Is it our health? Is it our education? Take all the SDG 17 goals. We are all in red.
We keep saying goals.
But I want to say something to you. You inadvertently, but I think it's more advantage. You have set an agenda for the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, that Nigerians have their eyes wide open. This should not slip through the cracks. This perhaps will be one of your very first tasks that we want to see by way of scorecard, that you are able to do something. President Bola Tinubu, if he continues in office, knows it for sure that it cannot be friend issue here. We must get to the bottom of it. All the people that have discriminated us in the oil and gas, in PID and all that, must be brought to book. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. About right now, we'll go on a very quick break, and after this break, we'll be back. The Bumper Breakfast Show continues. We'll be back.
Hello viewers, I welcome you to this edition of our program, Abuja Weekly Files. I'm Folashade Abdusalam.
The legislative agenda of the 10th House is the barometer to monitor and evaluate the engagement of the House with Nigeria.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing where we can support the new House of Assembly and your agenda.
We also like to know what this scheme is doing to mitigate this problem going forward.
The legislative agenda of the 10th House is the barometer to monitor and evaluate.
I've been running up and money go out from my head. So I for me this second strategy story because of one key. No, what's up, Stanley? Okay. Kid gets all of this.
Reno, no.
Stop.
Welcome back. Still the Bumper Breakfast Show, and about right now we're still doing trending stories and table shaker together this morning because time is not on our side. All right, I want you to know this is from another one from Reno Mockery, hashtag table shaker on Twitter. If you go to Twitter, you're gonna see this again, and it said Naira is falling, and you are accusing the government. What about you? Every year, 76 million Nigerians spend $5 billion on a particular network. I don't want to mention that network. Google it. Where do you think that money is going to? South Africa, of course. A strong Naira begins with you. We are not serious about the Naira. If just half of that 76 million people pots to this Nigerian network, the Naira will shoot up in value immediately. We are funding our neighbor when there is no food in our house and accusing our mother Nigeria of starving you. Which Nigerian company is making even $50 million from South Africa? Hashtag table shaker. I want to start with you, Mr. Flat.
When truth is told, sometimes it's bitter, but that is the real thing. We know that the challenge of Nigeria is that we are import dependent. And Reno is right to have gone in the area of monies that has found flights to South Africa. We're talking about the kind of turnover and money that has gone onto airtimes. What about this? How about this? Do you know how much Nigeria, well, the whole world, we're talking about Nigeria now because we are shaking the Nigerian table. How much of this that is going out in terms of hard foreign exchange? They are all imported. If you are in primary school or secondary school, parents have so despoiled their children that they must have food and touch screen. And I'm going to shake this table now and shake it a little bit to your side, Tessie. I mean, your beauty and the hair that you put on. Do you know how much foreign exchange expect putting that on? Vera, you inclusive, including my wife at home, including my daughter. By the time you aggregate all that, things that we don't produce here, but we must put on. The third one I'm going to mention, and I'm sure Tessie must have seen this. When we want to do our woman bed and all that, we look for, say we want to bury somebody, and then we look for a ship, and then we put champagne on the ship, and then we
Pop champagne. Sprinkle champagne everywhere.
Those are the
Spray
very-
it.
burning money that we
Hard
needed to have used for production to look at our local content and put on. The final one I would say is, so it doesn't look as if I'm picking on you alone, and let me pick on myself. This is not produced in Nigeria. This texture is not produced in Nigeria. We used to produce it. We drove our textile to the ground, and we go to Cote d'Ivoire, go to Swiss, go to any of the parties, and you see our ladies. In fact, somebody has told me that Nigerians, who is not a Nigerian, Nigerians are the most gorgeously dressed, and that there is no way you can be saying Nigeria is poor. So, Reno Mokri is telling us those truths. We need to watch our palate, we need to watch our appetite, what we consume, and I don't see any reason why we continue to say made in Aba, made in Aba. There was a time we said made in China, made in Japan, but they were able to perfect such a perfection, and today they are giant powers. We need economic risorgimento. I hope that English is not shaking the table.
You need to break it down, sir.
We need a rebirth. We need a rethink. We need, like Reno Mokri has said, that when you begin to point a finger, that you are the one that's causing it. You are the one that's causing a problem. Pointing. I understand some people have 6 fingers. So if you are pointing one, maybe 5 will be pointing at you. So reality movement, national orientation, which needs to start with our leaders. I must confess, because they are always the first.
I wanted to start with that.
Okay, they are always the first to break the rules and break the laws. So, Mr. President, as the chief samurai, as the captain of the ship or your household, the National Assembly, the state governors, the local governments, representatives here and there, please, let's see you get out there to use the example and get to what Awolowo did at one point in time. He had a vision to educate the Western region. He gave free education to the Western region. He went as far back as Shekiri land, and he was in short nika and on barefoot. Some picture. Do we still have leaders that should be able to do that? Show by example, and the legacy will stand for you. Thank you.
Well, for me, when I saw it, I'm not a fan of Reno, honestly. But sometimes you hear him talk right. I don't like people talk with sentiment when it comes to national issues. But for this particular one, I think he said what was in my mind. But saying that, and not looking at governance, leadership, I don't think we're going to get a headway. You're saying the SIM card, the network you're using. I think I saw Dubai recently where they brought out a card now for their citizens. It's a card. Enables you go abroad to study and they pay for you. Enables you want to give birth, you have the card as a citizen, you're not paying. And if you want to wear, they give you some $50,000 or something. They give you a little bit of amount for you to start life with. They are planning for their citizenry. They are planning for their people. They are planning for their country. They love and embrace who they are. It's starting from the top. If you say, Reno is saying, and that's why for me it's a bit different. If Reno is saying, all of us, we are using this particular network, we should all port. We love to port, but that should come from the government. There should be maybe a law from them saying, well, Nigerians must first get this network before you can get the second one. So people will move to their own, whereby we're going to be increasing our revenues. But if you're not telling me what to do, I'm seeing you, the legislators are all getting Toyota product. Don't let me advertise for free here. While we have our own innocent vehicles and they're not patronizing it. So what are you saying? So I think we need to start from ourselves. The leaders need to wake up. First, you must, like I like to patronize Nigerian-made products. I like to patronize my own product. I like to patronize our own product. But if I don't have that opportunity, your own product is not well done, are you going to be sticking there?
That's what I was about saying.
And is the government not supposed to assist and help Nigerians to have a better production? These are all of the things. You want a better production, you're paying those people, it's company. You're renting an office and you've paid the product, the gas you are using is as expensive as you getting the rent paid. You see, these are the things that are making businesses collapse. So we need to begin to look at our structure. What do we have in place? So Reno is just saying his mind, but the reality, the truth is, the government is not giving us that chance or that opportunity to stick with our own product. We have Nigerian product there that we should patronize. I don't want to start advertising the company here, the network here, but our business is thriving in Nigeria. If we're patronizing this product and the business is not well funded, are we not going to have network issues all through? People complain that ShopRite is from this is from this country, is from that country. Our own shop, our own mall, how well is this? Is government helping in business? So we cannot say, oh, you're patronizing this person. Like he said, we were not producing. A lot of companies have moved to Ghana because of the hiccups we're having with production in Nigeria. So they move because they want to have a flawless one. So it's not our fault. It's the system. It's not one person. It's all of us. I keep saying all of us because there are no spirits in leadership. It's all of us that we need to tell ourselves the truth, to produce spice, just little spices. We know what it takes. You have to on your generating set. The company is using diesel. Tessie, you know how much diesel or fuel this company is using for us to be on television.
Yeah.
How do you break even? These are the things we should begin to look at, honestly.
You know, one thing again about Nigerian products, I'm so sorry to say this, but I know most of us have this belief. We have this belief that if it's Nigerian's product, it's going to be fake. The quality is going to be low. You understand? Just like buying a shoe, and you tell me your shoe is made in Nigeria or made in Aba. We all have this feeling. I don't know. I stand to be corrected. We all have those feelings that this shoe is not going to last long except you sew it round.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes. When they buy shoes from there, they will say sew it round. But when you get a shoe from the UK, US, Italy, you realize you don't need to sew it round. You just wear it like that and it lasts like ever. That's why they get the OK shoes. You get an OK shoe, you don't need to sew it round. You just wear it like that. And it lasts longer.
And they are using our beef skin. Take it down
there. So where does the problem lie?
Is
it with
prices?
Did you listen to Fela's music about Kolo mentality? Kolo mentality. Colonially, man, it is a mentality that we have developed. Tessie, are you aware that shoes made in Aba, even here in Lagos, are of a quality that it is only when you now affix made in Italy, made in the US, that people want to say go and buy. Just lack of patriotism and the kind of indiscipline that we have put in there. China was in our situation at one point in time, like I said. Japan was in our situation at one point in time. They closed the economy. And what did they do? They either still borrow or import, taking their people out there to go look for what we don't have here. Are you aware that when Mark Zuckerberg came to Nigeria, he came to Nigeria, Silicon Valley, he made a statement that many of these that have not gone to school, they have what you call superior brain and superior power. What has been lacking, I have to say, is leadership like very saying. But to me, as I always say, you need two hands to clap. Leadership and followership itself. Making sure that we get people of character that we can look at and follow. Can you imagine the first lady of Nigeria, the first lady of the different states, and the first lady of all the chairmen of local government, and the first ladies of our legislators, all are done in our local, tie and dye. Adire.
Yeah.
I have gone in Nigeria outside this country, and you know what they say? It's looking so beautiful, it's looking colorful.
Yeah.
Is this what it is? And all that. But we are the ones that will continue to say to ourselves that what we are producing is bad. Dora Kinley made that point. Let's do this reorientation, and let it start from the top. I say, and I will continue to say it, we have the capacity to be able to do it. We don't have the enablement. We have been despoiled by oil. We all troop to the national center to go and share money at the end of the month without putting our creative ingenuity to be. I mean, situations where a girl will come out of Makoko. A girl will come out of Makoko and will make a 2-1 and being the first graduate. Would you ever believe such a thing was possible? And even she herself said that I never knew such a thing was possible. So the potential capacity of the human that we have in Nigeria is only to get somebody to unlock it for us. And we're going to get there.
All right, thank you, Mr. Fatuke, for always being on the show. And we say happy birthday to Baba Jebu once again, because I just like that name, the name Baba Jebu. I don't know, I just like the name, the pronunciation, the way it sounds, Baba Jebu.
Yes.
Dapada, they will say, oh, Baba Jebu, Dapada. That's the slang on the street. Okay, but right now we'll go on a quick break, and after this break, we'll be back for newspaper review. Thank you.
Hello viewers, I welcome you to this edition of our program, Abuja Weekly File. I'm Folashade Abdusalam.
The legislative agenda of the 10th House is the barometer to monitor and evaluate the engagement of the House with Nigerians.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing where we can support the new House of Assembly and your agenda.
We also like to know what the scheme is doing to mitigate this problem going forward.
The legislative agenda of the 10th House is the barometer to monitor and evaluate.
Take all of my money, oh, don't me, baby, me and some for you, yeah. Whether it's sunny or rainy, my baby, oh, don't me, baby, I will come for you. Madness, baby, in the war, I let me copy. I go wake up to you, baby, no be. Your body not big engine, look good in that given shit. Other girls be like this entry, killing them with your big entry. Ọmọ yìí àpàyàn, oníṣẹ́ mo máa ọ̀sán ìdá kejì, kò ṣọ̀sán fẹ́wẹ́. Ọmọ yìí àpàyàn, oníṣẹ́ mo máa ọ̀sán ìdá kejì, kò ṣọ̀sán fẹ́wẹ́. Take all of my money, oh, love me, baby, and for you, yeah. When I sorry, already, my baby, oh, love me, baby, I'm for you, yeah. So I tell you, love me, come for me, give me my food. Stage 19, baby. So I tell you, love me, come for me, give me my food. My life, I want you all the time. Around the rain till of far away, till it's forever. If I carry it, caterpillar, I take off my calamia. I don't like a cabin, I love you. ọmọ yìí àpàyàn ó ní ṣé mo máa mọ̀ sàn ọ̀sán ìdàgé kejì mo ṣọ̀sán wẹ́wẹ́ ọmọ yìí àpàyàn ó ní ṣé mo máa mọ̀ sàn ọ̀sán ìdàgé kejì mo ṣọ̀sán wẹ́wẹ́. ṣé ọ̀la máa mọ̀ rí màní o lórí lẹ́bí mi ẹ̀ sàn for you yeah. When I sorry ọ̀rẹ́ mi máa rẹ́ mi olórí lẹ́bí àwọn for you yeah. Yóò ráyè ẹgbọ́n ṣe máa dùn dájú àwọn lórí kí ọ̀la òun lágbà tó lù ìfọ̀mọ́ yìí. Yóò ráyè ẹgbọ́n ṣe máa dùn dájú àwọn lórí kí ọ̀la òun lágbà tó lù ìfọ̀mọ́ yìí.
Welcome back. It's the Bumper Breakfast Show, and as you can see, my name is Teresa Adeyemi, and we have Mr. Biola on set this morning doing newspaper review with us.
Good morning.
In case you're just watching this show for the first time, you won't understand why I'm laughing, but if you're a regular viewer of this show, you will know why I'm laughing. I have to force him on the set, come and review the paper. He's a news editor. When it comes to business,
most of the things we are going to review this morning, I want to believe is from the business segment.
some of the things we know, I'm not doing business with you.
Okay.
Because that's where you pay me lot to where I don't know. Don't take me to where I don't know in business. Okay. All right, we started this morning with the Guardian newspaper. OD, sure you're ready. The Guardian newspaper this morning. Host communities kick as proposed PIA review shrinks 3% allocation. Host communities must fund new portal introduced by NUPRC. Hire pay lawyers and chartered accountant with at least 10 years experience. As injunction elapses, Ondo Assembly reopens Ayedatiwa's impeachment process. And APC kicks as Supreme Court reserved judgment in Atiku Obi's appeal. PNI the $11 billion award against Nigeria obtained by fraud. Tinubu hails victory. Tinubu target $1 trillion economy, hopeful of $10 billion inflow to ease forest crisis. Adeyemi loses again as Supreme Court affirmed Usman Ododo as APC candidate. Federal government IHS Towers seal NIB deal on digital communities, or should suspend foreign trips for officials. And Vera, what do we have in the Punch newspaper?
We move to the Punch newspaper this morning. It says UK court dismisses $11 billion PID suit. Nigeria demands damages. Federal government plans $10 billion to stabilize Naira. Eyes NNPCL for Forex. FEG OK $8.45 billion West African bank loan for PA and others. Tinubu certificates prove alleged forgery beyond reasonable doubt. South Supreme Court tells Atiku. Court reserves judgment on OB. Labour Party appeal dismisses APM's case. And the writer here says Atiku insists on CSU evidence. Ex-VP's disposition invalid, says Tinubu. Oyen Dam flood sack Ogun communities. Governors declares emergency. Israel arrests 120 militant. EU bags Gaza aid. Slain Nigerian students. NIPSCOM probes murderer. NAS demands justice. Finally, from the Punch, federal government IHS plan 1 billion tech talents communities. That's from the Punch newspaper.
And from the front page of the Nation this morning, we have the first headline story. Supreme Court grills Atiku's lawyers over CSU documents. And the writer, Apex Court dismisses APM's appeal. Reserved judgment in Atiku Obi versus Tinubu. And another story on the front page of the Nation. Ondo Assembly pushes ahead with Ayedatiwa's impeachment. CJ gets another letter to set up panel. And on the right side, we have forest crisis. Federal government to inject $10 billion in weeks. Unauthorized dollar transactions to become illegal. Consumer credit scheme soon, says Mr. President. And on the front page also, we have cost. clears for Udodo as Supreme Court dismisses Adeyemi's appeal. Federal government confirms January start of students' loan scheme. All these we get is on the front page of the Nation newspaper this morning.
And moving to the Nigerian Tribune, finally the Nigerian Tribune this morning, Wike enforces tax clearance certificate as precondition for business transactions in FCT. Supreme Court dismisses Adeyemi's appeal against APC Ododo. Odua's Investment Foundation defined for lunch today. MP on PID, excitement as Nigerian wins $11 billion UK court case. Corrupt officials, private firms can no longer hold nations hostage. Tinubu. Judgment removes risks to Nigerian assets abroad, AGF. How a beheaded man sold his part to Islamic cleric for 50,000 naira, suspect says. Autonomy. Parliamentary staff set to shut down national state assemblies. 40 women in Nigeria die daily from breast cancer. Breaking. Supreme Court reserves judgment in Obi Atiku's appeal against Tinubu's election. Dismisses APM's appeal. The fate awaits you, APC tells Atiku PDP. And above the nameplate, student loan takes off January. Tinubu says plans on the way to improve foreign exchange contracts. Few subsidy pays will be short-lived, he adds. Impeachment again. Odo Assembly writes CJ to constitute panel to investigate Ayedatiwa. Federal government target $5 billion annually for humanitarian poverty alleviation tax fund. OK's $3.45 billion for 5 projects, including $700 million for adolescent girl child education. And those are the lucky stories that made it to some Nigerian dailies this morning. And about right now, we'll leave you with Mr. Biola Ismail for Business Report. And for me, it's about Bible. The show continues. Please stay and watch for business updates with our business guru, Abiola Ismail. My name is Teresa Adeyemi, and I'm going to see you on the show tomorrow, mashallah, by God's grace.
And I'm Vera Osopo. I'll see you soon.
All right. We'll be back.
Hello viewers, I welcome you to this edition of our program, Abuja Weekly File. I'm Folashade Abdusalam.
The legislative agenda of the 10th House is the barometer to monitor and evaluate the engagement of the House with Nigerians.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing where we can support the new House of Assembly and your agenda.
We also like to know what the scheme is doing to mitigate this problem going forward.
The legislative agenda of the 10th House is the barometer to monitor and evaluate.
A deadly syndicate. An overdue vengeance.
Silence today, please. Tani, wọ́n ti fẹsẹ̀ kọ́ ṣọ́ọ́dì wà ń bẹ̀ mo ti ṣe. Yeah. You're welcome back. My name is Abiola Ismail, your regular host on business segment of Bumper Breakfast Show. It's been a while and we thank God we are back. We are back full, strong, reliable. And today we shall be looking at various issues that made headlines yesterday and the day before. Like we have yesterday, the Federal Executive Council meeting held and a lot of issues came up in terms of business. And one of the issues was the approval to raise close to $5 billion annually by the federal government to fund the humanitarian trust fund. And what is this money meant for? Now listen to this. The federal government has approved the creation of the humanitarian and poverty alleviation trust fund under the government and the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, while stating this on Monday during the briefing with the House correspondents, stated that FEC meeting at the presidential villa said
fund is a flexible form of financing aimed to help Nigerians' emergency response to humanitarian crisis and address poverty in Nigeria. Edu stated that the federal government hopes to raise at least $5 billion US dollars annually into its fund as contribution from various sources, including government, private sector, development partners, philanthropists, individuals, and other innovative forms of pool funding. The minister also said that the governing body will include the Minister of Finance and other top government officials that may be relevant to the trust fund. Also at that meeting yesterday, the Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edu, disclosed that various approval given by the Executive Council include financing to reduce the number of out-of-school children and also development of technology and security to curb illegal mining across the country. We also have the Minister of Solid Mineral, Mr. Alake. He also spoke yesterday. He talked about his own ministry, where he said that a lot of things are already in place for policies to move on and all that. In the next 2 minutes, we shall be having the tracks from the meeting held yesterday, the track of the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, as Dr. Betta Edu, the Minister of Finance, as Mr. Wale Edu, and also the Minister for Solid Mineral, Mr. Alake. Let's have the track from these 3 gentlemen.
Financing for the girl child, $700 million is the size of the current project. About the $10 billion. I had said that in terms of earlier today, that in terms of the all-important liquidity in the foreign exchange market, to get it to start functioning where demand and supply can at least equate around a relatively stable price, which is what investors, manufacturers, and indeed the general public require.
Grateful to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today for the approval given for the creation of the Humanitarian and Poverty Alleviation Trust Fund. This is a flexible form of financing that can help us get contributions from different sectors. So we're going to have contribution from government, of course, from the private sector, development partners, individuals, philanthropic individuals, and other innovative form of crowdfunding and pulling of funds together. This is to allow for emergency response to humanitarian crisis in Nigeria. Every other day we hear about crisis, the floods, and the rest of it. We need to be able to respond adequately as a country. Beyond
Kenny,
this, the issue of poverty alleviation is one of the agendas of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in his 8-point agenda, and we want to be able to tackle it headlong. How much are we looking at? Every year we hope to be able to raise at least $5 billion within this fund, and this is from the various sources that I've mentioned and even more. And we're hopeful that.
And we've also traced incidents of banditry to the handiwork of
sorrow.
especially
So now by 8:40 because of you.
Some notorious foreigners who come to our nation,
Last track of
in the local areas, with a view to driving away the local population and then moving in to start extracting, exploration and extracting our minerals. It's technology that is helping us to decipher all of this. So we are investing more heavily in injection of technology into our security architecture, and that's making a huge difference. Like I said,
that was the excerpt from the Federal Executive Council meeting held yesterday and presided over by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And at that meeting, you can understand that a lot of issues were raised and a lot of approval made And one of the approval made that we just listened to is the humanitarian, is for the humanitarian poverty ministry, where government is expecting in the next annually to raise 5 billion US dollars to fund this project. That's poverty alleviation. Now I have with me via phone Mr. Kendi Adiaga. Is a financial analyst who is going to discuss this issue on how government is intending to raise this fund and the people that they're bringing in. Good morning, Kendi.
Good morning, Biola. How are you today?
Thank God. Now, yesterday the Federal Executive Council, held its weekly meeting, and it was approved that 5 billion US dollar will be raised annually to fund the humanitarian ministry in terms of giving money to the less privileged, the poverty, and all that. What do you see to this move from the federal government?
Well, for anyone or for everybody, it is a good move. But the implementation, we have always had issues and problems with implementations of ideas and policies. And I think that if this government is serious about it, it means Nigeria will receive a succor, and it means that those less privileged, those the downtrodden, will be part of this government. So my advice to the government is to see to the fulfillment and the completion of the implementation. Implementation is very key here. And how they go about it. The problem again is we don't have statistics. We don't have information about Nigeria. And that is very disheartening. It's very disturbing, where you don't know how many people are living in a particular area. I recall there was a time during the electioneering period years back where the present president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, decided to do a census of Lagos, where he paid people to go out to canvass, to get information about people living in a particular area, to know the number of people, eligibility, that is the voters' eligibility at that time, those who are eligible to vote, that is 18 and above, who lives in a particular area, houses and what have you. If that information is still available, I'm sure Lagos State, it will not be difficult for Lagos State to get across to the downtrodden and those who are less privileged to be part of this thing. But if it is not visible, if the information is not available, that means that it will be extremely difficult for the government to say if you want to get across to people to alleviate their poverty. So what government needs to do right now, even as they intend to do that, is to start taking census, start taking statistics of people living in every home. And I think this can be done. More so that we now have BVN. They can use the BVN of an individual to know. By the time you use that statistic, you can then come down to other information such as maybe going to get people to register at a particular point. And registration must be by individual, not by proxy. People should go register, write their names down and everything, and the government official capturing them, both the picture and everything. Again, with the picture and the beavers that was used for election, that also can be taken to use, it can be used to get statistics of Nigerians. Except we get our statistics right, the implementation will be extremely difficult and it will go back to zero.
Let me just chip this in, Kendi. Sometimes ago, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Dr. Betta Edu, came to Lagos to kickstart the relaunch of giving 25,000 naira to those that were believed to be living under poverty level, who are abject poverty. And during that period, they started registration. And they also wanted to go through what the former minister left behind in terms of the data that you just mentioned. Okay? And I believe that by the time all these things are in place, the federal government, the present government might get into that. So also last week, former Minister of Finance, Shegun Ganga, said what you just mentioned now, that in terms of policy, Nigeria is very good in making plans, coming up with policies, but implementation is one of the issues that we have. Now, if we start this implementation on a good note, if we start, giving out 25,000 naira to the privileged and those who have been, put inside the net, and we are talking about implementation of this policy. In any case that we get it right, do you see it bringing down the number of poverty people living under abject poverty down, or do you see anything, turning the economy around in case we get it right? I'm not saying we are going to, or we shall, or we will not, but in case this government gets it right, what do you think will happen to the economy?
Well, if the government gets it right, it means our economy is bouncing back. It means we are propping up our level of business and development in Nigeria. It means we can stand against other already developed nations. For instance, the implementation policy that we are looking at, it is very urgent, and it's a matter of urgency, so to say, that we must get it right. Again, if we look at the statistics, when they said they want to give certain amount to those who are living below poverty level, how do you come about this? How do you get those statistics right? The Nigerian factor is another issue that we must fight against. It shouldn't be a case of political party affiliation and what have you, because once Nigerians get to know that certain amount of money is going to be distributed to some level of Nigerians, you see everybody thinking it's a national cake and they must be part of it. So government needs to get it right from day one. If we get it right from day one, we are sure of going above our level, as it were, now. So I encourage the government to do everything right from day one, to get it right from day one, so that we don't go back to what it used to be. So if the government can get it right, it will be a thing of joy for all Nigerians. Again, I think what is critical and important now is the infrastructural development.
Yes.
We need to develop all the infrastructure in a decade in Nigeria.
Yeah.
The roads are bad, housing is there, energy is there, and a whole lot that can transform Nigeria economy. And like I normally say in the political parlance with some people, that I in person may not need money. It's not as if I don't need the money. I may not need the money as urgent as others need.
Yes.
But when roads are fixed, because I drive, it means that I will not go to my mechanic every day.
Yes.
Meaning that my car is in good condition. That means the roads are fixed. So what I would have used to take to my mechanic for repair almost every day would have been saved for another thing.
Yes.
When there are availability of housing for Nigerians to live in, those who are living in shanties, those who are going to borrow money, those who are going through hell to live, to survive, that would have been taken care of.
Yes.
And so government needs to put all these things together, not only to give money to people. Giving out money to people is a thing that can be easily done, and you think you have done the best.
Yeah.
But when you do it in a manner that those who are seriously affected are taken out of that segment, it is then you would say, yes, we have arrived.
Okay.
But it's right now, government needs to do the statistics, do the arithmetics well from day one
before
get it right.
implementation. Okay, thank you very much, Kenge. We might not have enough time to go further. I know you are boxed with also stock market report and all that, but because of the time, we leave out the studio now for my colleague, Stanley Ikawu, is already standing by for sport update. I'll be right back. My name is Abiola Ismail.
welcome you to this edition of our program, Abuja Weekly File. I'm Folashade Abdusalami.
The legislative agenda of the 10th House is the barometer to monitor and evaluate the engagement of the House with Nigerians.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing where we can support the new House of Assembly and your agenda.
We also like to know what the scheme is doing to mitigate this problem going forward.
Oh my word!
The legislative agenda of the 10th House is the barometer to monitor and evaluate.
A deadly syndicate. An overdue vengeance. A sacrifice of blood. A coveted crown.
Better, absolutely. Whew.